Imagine you are a German philosopher in the 1940s. You have fled the Nazis. You have come to America. You are supposed to feel free. You are in the land of democracy, Hollywood movies, jazz music, and radio. But Adorno and Horkheimer were not happy. They looked around and saw something disturbing. They saw that American entertainment was not so different from German propaganda. It was just more clever. They wrote an essay called The Culture Industry Enlightenment as Mass Deception. It argues that movies, radio, and pop music are not just fun, they are tools of social control. They keep you passive, they keep you obedient, they stop you from thinking. Let me explain how. First, a definition. Culture industry is a system that produces movies, radio shows, pop songs, magazines, and later television and streaming content. It is called an industry because it works like a factory. Think about a car factory. Cars come off the assembly line, they all look almost the same. A Chrysler and a General Motors car look different, but a child can see the difference is fake. Both are just cars. The culture industry works the same way. A Warner Brothers movie and a Metro Goldwyn Mayer movie are supposed to be different. They have different stars, different budgets, different posters, but they follow the same formula. The hero is brave, the girl is pretty, the villain is punished. There is happy ending. Culture is infecting everything with sameness. Everything is the same. Everything is predictable. Everything is boring. But here is the trick. Culture industry gives you tiny, meaningless differences. One star has a lock of hair over her eye. Another has a different accent. These small differences make you feel like you are choosing. They make you feel like you have taste. They make you feel like an individual. But you are not an individual, you are a consumer. And the system is training you to be a good one. Before the culture industry, there were two kinds of art. First, there was high art. This was Beethoven symphonies, Shakespeare plays, and Tolstoy novels. High art was difficult. It required effort. It made you think. It challenged the way things were. Second, there was low art. This was circuses, popular songs, and comedy shows. Low art was just for fun. It helped you forget your troubles. It was not trying to change the world. Culture industry destroyed both. It took high art and made it easy. It played Beethoven on the radio, but only for 3 minutes. It cut out the difficult parts. It turned Tolstoy into a movie, but it removed all the complex ideas. What was left was just a love story with pretty costumes. This did not bring high art to the masses. It killed high art. It turned it into a product. At the same time, culture industry made low art serious. It added fake psychological depth to comedies. It put messages in pop songs. It made everything meaningful, but the meaning was always the same: be happy, obey, and consume. The result is a world where nothing is challenging and nothing is purely fun. Everything is medium, everything is lukewarm, everything is the same. Adorno and Horkheimer identified several specific mechanisms. Here are the most important ones. First mechanism is formula and repetition. Every movie follows the same plot. You know what will happen from the first 5 minutes. The hero will almost die. He will escape. He will get the girl. You can predict every beat. Pop songs are even worse. Verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. You can hum the ending after hearing just the first few notes. Why does this matter? Because it requires no effort. You do not have to think, you do not have to pay close attention. You can be half asleep and still follow along. This trains you to be passive. It trains you to expect everything to be easy. It trains you to give up when something is hard. A difficult book, turn on a movie. A complex political issue, scroll to the next video. Second mechanism is the death of imagination. When you read a book, you have to imagine the scenes. You have to picture the characters. You have to fill in the gaps. This takes work, but it also builds your imagination. Movies and radio do the work for you. They show you everything. There is nothing left to imagine. The image is fixed. The sound is fixed. Your imagination is not needed. Over time, your imagination weakens. You become dependent on screens. You lose the ability to picture things in your own mind. You lose the ability to think for yourself. Third mechanism, the cult of stars. Culture industry creates movie stars and radio personalities. They are presented as special, unique and authentic. We are supposed to admire them. We are supposed to follow their lives. We are supposed to buy the products they endorse. But here is the secret. Stars are not authentic, they are manufactured. The studios give them fake biographies. They tell them what to wear. They tell them what to say in interviews. They even change their names. The star is a product, nothing more. Why does the culture industry need stars? Because stars teach us to admire power and wealth. They teach us to dream of being rich and famous, not of changing the world. They keep our eyes on the stage, not on the factories, the slums, or the war rooms. Fourth mechanism is pseudo individuality. This is a key term. Pseudo means fake. Pseudo individuality means fake individuality. Culture industry gives you tiny, meaningless differences to make you feel special. One singer has a slightly higher voice, another has a different hairstyle, one movie has more explosions, another has more car chases. You think you are expressing your unique self when you choose one over the other, but you are just picking between two identical products. Adorno and Horkheimer compared this to ale locks. Every ale lock is slightly different, but every ale lock can be opened by the same master key. The master key is conformity. You are allowed to be different in tiny, superficial ways. You can wear different clothes. You can listen to different music, but you cannot be different in any way that matters. You cannot refuse to work. You cannot live outside the system. You cannot question capitalism. Fifth mechanism is the replacement of meaning with effect. Old art had meaning. A Beethoven symphony has a coherent whole. Every part related to every other part. You had to listen to the whole thing to understand it. Culture industry products are not made of meaning, they are made of effects. A funny joke here, a scary moment there, a romantic kiss at the end. These effects do not need to connect, they do not need to make sense together. They just need to grab your attention for a moment. Think about a movie trailer. A trailer shows you the best explosions, the funniest lines, and the most dramatic moments. It does not matter if they fit together, it just needs to sell the ticket. Adorno and Horkheimer say the whole culture industry is like a trailer. It is all surface, there is no depth, nothing holds together. You just bounce from one effect to the next. Now we get to the politics. Why does the ruling class support culture industry? Why do corporations pour billions of dollars into movies, music and streaming? Because culture industry keeps people docile. It keeps them quiet. It keeps them from rebelling. Think about the average worker. She works 8, 10, 12 hours a day. She is exhausted. She is bored. She is stressed. When she comes home, She does not want to think. She does not want to read a difficult book or have a deep conversation. She wants to be distracted. Culture industry provides the perfect distraction. It fills the silence. It keeps her company. It gives her something to talk about with co-workers. It makes her feel like she is part of a community. But here is the trap. Work is repetitive, boring, and exhausting. Leisure provided by the culture industry is also repetitive, boring, and exhausting. You do not rest, you just switch from one kind of labor to another. Working at your job, then working to keep up with shows, music, and celebrity gossip. Even the content reinforces the system. Every movie tells the same story. The hero succeeds through hard work and luck. The villain is punished. The happy couple buys a house. The message is always, this is the way the world is. Do not try to change it. Just learn to enjoy it. Adorno and Horkheimer are particularly dark about laughter. Laughter, they say, used to be a moment of liberation. You laughed when a fear was ended. You laughed when a tyrant fell. You laughed when logic broke down. But in the culture industry, laughter is just a reflex. You laugh because the soundtrack tells you to laugh. You laugh at the cartoon character being beaten up. You laugh at cruelty. This is not liberation, this is barbarism. You are laughing at your own chains. Adorno and Horkheimer pay special attention to radio. Film still pretends to be a market. You buy a ticket, you choose which movie to see. This creates the illusion of choice. Radio does not even pretend. You do not pay for radio, it is free. But you pay for it indirectly when you buy the products advertised between songs. Radio is pure mouthpiece. In Nazi Germany, radio was the voice of the Führer. It broadcast his speeches everywhere. His voice merged with sirens and propaganda. It was impossible to escape. In America, radio is the voice of the advertiser. It tells you to buy, buy, buy. But the function is the same, to fill the silence, to prevent you from being alone with your own thoughts, to make sure you are always receiving messages from above. Adorno and Horkheimer make a terrifying prediction. They predict that radio will eventually stop pretending. The announcer will stop saying, "This program is brought to you by." He will just give the command, buy, obey, conform. They saw this happening in Nazi Germany. They worried it would happen in America too. This essay is very, very pessimistic. Adorno and Horkheimer see the culture industry as almost total. There is no outside. Even rebellion is absorbed. Protest music becomes a genre. Angry films become blockbusters. The system eats everything. But there are tiny traces of something better. They point to the circus, to clowns and acrobats. These are forms of purposelessness. They do not serve any social function. They are just skill and beauty for their own sake. They remind us of what art could be. They also point to absurdist humor, to the Marx Brothers, to moments of pure nonsense where meaning breaks down. For a brief moment, the spell is broken. You are not being manipulated. You are just laughing at the absurdity of it all. But these moments are rare. Culture industry is quick to absorb them. It turns the Marx Brothers into another product. It sells clown noses at the gift shop. Nothing is safe. The only real hope is structural change. As long as capitalism exists, culture industry will exist. As long as profit is a goal, art will be a commodity. As long as people are exhausted from work, they will seek easy distraction. The only real solution is to change the way society is organized. The essay ends on a bleak note, but it implies that another world is possible. A world where art is not a product, where leisure is not a continuation of work, where people have the time and energy to think for themselves. You might be thinking this was written in 1944. They were talking about radio and black and white movies. We have streaming, social media, video games, and TikTok. Does any of this still apply? The answer is yes. The names have changed, the technology has advanced, but the system is the same. Formula and repetition. Marvel movies, they all follow the same pattern. You know the hero will win. Death of imagination, social media scrolling. You never have to sit with your own thoughts. There is always another video, another post, another piece of content. Sued individuality, your curated Instagram feed. You think you are expressing your unique self, but you are just selecting from a menu of options designed by the platform. Celebrity culture, influencers, they are the new movie stars. They are manufactured by agencies, their lives are products. Work and leisure, you scroll TikTok after a long day of Zoom calls. Both are exhausting, both are repetitive, both are screens. Culture industry is stronger than ever. It is more pervasive, it is more sophisticated. It follows you everywhere, in your pocket, on your wrist, in your car. It is still deceiving you into thinking you are free. Adorno and Horkheimer do not offer easy answers. They are not saying you should throw away your phone and live in a cabin. They know that would not change the system. But they are saying that awareness is the first step. Once you see the cage, you can start to notice how it works. Notice when a movie is following a formula. Notice when a song sounds exactly like the last song. Notice when you are being sold something disguised as entertainment. Notice when your choice is between two identical products. And sometimes turn it all off. Read a difficult book. Listen to silence. Sit with your own thoughts. Be bored. Boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is the space where new ideas can grow. Be a person, not a product. That is the only resistance the culture industry cannot absorb. Thank you.